Jay, good morning and welcome. Sorry, good evening to you. As I was just saying, thank you very much for taking time out in your very busy schedule to come and share with us today about the CSR updates, etc., and the strategy going forward. Thank you very, very much. But also what I'm going to do now is just play a little video at the beginning, and then we can start the presentation. Welcome to the CSR, or the Corsair CSR updates. Little video, I'm sure most of you have probably.
What is CSR Plastic Credit? CSR Plastic Credit is a digital receipt which proves that plastic waste has been removed from the environment. Every time Corsair removes 1 kilo of plastic waste from our environment, 10 CSR plastic credits are distributed into the circulation. Do you want to be part of the pollution or the solution? CSR operates in an open source, most transparent and trustworthy database called a blockchain. Every CSR token and transaction is publicly recorded into the Ethereum blockchain and is available for everyone to see, providing ultimate transparency and public accountability. Some of the largest companies and brands worldwide are already endorsing the global plastic credit revolution. As soon as you take the first step towards reducing your plastic waste footprint and becoming plastic neutral, you get connected with tens of thousands of dedicated members of the CSR community worldwide. Be the revolution. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be plastic neutral. Join us in the mission to help our planet now. CSR Plastic Credit is here.
A great little video. So, good morning, Jay, and hi.
Thank you very much, Roger. Thank you for the great energy. I'm happy to see we got almost 80 people here in this call today on a lovely Sunday morning, afternoon, depending where you are in the world. So great to see you guys, and thank you very much for taking your time and joining us on this call today.
Thank you for your time.
Now, the purpose of this call today is to look through a little bit about the recent events, what has happened with the CSR, where are we at the moment in terms of development of the CSR plastic credit, and obviously, most importantly, about where are we heading with the CSR plastic credit and with our mission in general. So I have a lot of topics for us to cover today. We are going to, well, not too serious, but we are going to tackle some serious topics, especially when it comes to the health of our planet today. But let's still keep the conversation light. It is Sunday, so we'll focus on that. Now, let me share you my screen and we'll get started. There. Now, to start off with the so-called bad news, I did mention about some of these topics in our set of announcements that we made last week, but the recent studies have now shown that plastic pollution is on its way to double by 2030. So if anybody was under the impression that this plastic situation is somehow getting better, well, unfortunately not. So if you think about all this plastic waste that is being created today, right? All of these packaging products and everything that we see flowing around in our oceans and on our beaches and on the landfills, imagine doubling that every year in less than 8 years from now. And on top of that, it's also projected to triple by 2060. So unfortunately, everything that has been done so far in terms of education and trying to trying to get people to stop using plastic straws, for example. Unfortunately, those actions have had very, very little effect on the bigger scale. Everything counts, right? Any small action is good. It's better than nothing. But the reality is that much, much more bigger action needs to be taken. All right. And we can't stop this thing by just saying, hey, let's not use plastic straws, for example. We need to get to a point where this plastic problem is properly managed on a wider scale. Okay. And believe me, the governments and the decision makers and the international organizations, they all understand this because they are looking at these numbers every day. So what for example, this recent study found out and projected is that by 2060, a few years down the road, there will be approximately 1 billion tons of plastic waste created annually. Okay? 1 billion tons. 1 billion tons equals 1 trillion kilos. And that's how many zeros it got. That's the annual amount of plastic garbage that is expected to be produced by 2060. All right? Let that sink in for a moment. All right? So what needs to be done? What is the solution for this? The solution for this is to establish a very strong offset program where the so-called producer responsibility will actually be now also included into the plastic products. What I believe that is going to happen in the future is, number one, more and more and more large scale, medium scale, and small scale companies will begin to use plastic credits as a way for them to take responsibility of their own plastic waste footprint. And initially this will happen voluntarily, but in a matter of the next couple of years, this will become mandatory. And every kilo that a company is putting out there has to be offset by using plastic credits. It will initially be a voluntary system, but as I said, in the next couple of years, it will become mandatory by law. And I'm even looking at it even sort of past that point, where it's just the companies that are creating plastic pollution who are obligated to use these plastic credits and to offset their footprint. I think what we are going to be seeing is we're going to be seeing a situation where the actual plastic manufacturing companies, the actual companies that produce the plastic from the oil, will actually eventually become responsible too. Because by having it moving like sort of like, if you think about it like a river, okay, where is the plastic coming from? Now we are talking today at the bottom. We're talking at the bottom of the stream, at the end of the stream. We're looking at talking to private people, consumers. Then we're going up a little bit on the stream, up in the river. Now we're looking at companies that actually put out this plastic, that use it in their packaging and so on. Now these companies will begin to take responsibility. But when we take one step up, then we are looking at the actual companies that make the plastic that is then used in all the packaging. And I do believe that this is the direction where we are moving, that eventually in a matter of the next few years, we are going to start to see more and more government regulation being implemented towards those plastic manufacturing companies, which are many times the oil companies. Okay? And when we get to that point, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see very, very interesting things happening in the world. Because if you think about this, 1 trillion kilos of plastic waste, and every kilo needs to be offset. Well, if you want to play around with the idea, and I want to be very careful on my wording here, if you want to think about what is the potential for the demand of CSR plastic credit, if CSR would be the only plastic credit in the world at that time, well, that could potentially be a demand of 10 trillion CSR per year, purchased and retired. Okay, but just to give you the idea on where we feel that this is moving. Now, what will happen with plastic credits? We're still talking about in a very big scale. I'm going to come to a more on a practical topics regarding Corsair and CSR specifically in a moment, but let's look at the bigger picture first. So what's happening with the CSR and generally with the plastic credits right now is that the development of the plastic credits is following almost identically on the footsteps of what has been done in the past with carbon credits. And if you are not familiar with carbon credits, the carbon credits in the most simplest way are very similar to as the plastic credits are, where a company that creates carbon pollution would pay for another company who removes carbon from the environment, from the atmosphere and from the world. So basically in the same way as what we are doing with plastic credits, companies and brands that are creating plastic pollution, even private individuals, can use the CSR plastic credit and other plastic credits to actually remove the plastic from the environment, and by doing so, become plastic neutral. There was an interesting article here just to give an understanding on what type of money is there involving in carbon credits. Carbon credits today is a $300 billion a year market. And for example, Tesla, as you can see, for example, here, in the past 5 years, has earned more than $5 billion from selling carbon credits. Actually, in the year 2020, Tesla actually made more money from selling carbon credits than they earned from selling cars. And they still keep on earning money, a lot of money from this. So in the past 5 years, they've earned an average of about $1 billion a year from selling carbon credits to other car manufacturers primarily. But that just goes to show you the sort of numbers that are there, okay? And I believe personally that the plastic credit market, which I said is following on the footsteps of the carbon credit market, will over the next 3 to 5 years grow to become at least 10% of what the carbon credit market is today. So my prediction is that in the next 3 to 5 years, the plastic credit market globally will grow into $30 billion a year. $30 billion in sales of plastic credits per year. At that moment, our target is to secure a minimum of 10% of that market, which would basically mean, if you work on these numbers, that the CSR would have an annual sales of $3 billion. Okay? You're still with me? What does that mean for the Amplivo network? What does that mean to you? Now, these are big numbers and hey, yeah, this and happening and this, but what about me? What about the network? Well, as you know, the only channel from where the CSR plastic credit is being distributed to the world is through the Amplivo network. We don't sell, we don't supply, we don't distribute the CSR plastic credit through any other channel for these companies or any other buyer out there. If somebody wants to buy the CSR plastic credit, they have the option to go to the open market and buy it from the second-hand market, from the exchanges, from anybody who might want to sell, or through the Amplivo network. And when we sell our plastic waste removal service, which then results in the distribution of the CSR plastic credit through Amplivo network, we pay up to 60% commission from every sales to the Amplivo influencers. So now you start working on these numbers. Okay, let's say that we get to that target, and we're selling $3 billion worth of CSR plastic waste removal service per year, and from that we pay 60% commission to the network. Yes, guys, like I've said before, this industry and this business opportunity, especially when it comes to the network and when it comes to the Amplivo influencers, is without a doubt the biggest financial business opportunity that any one of us has ever been involved with, period. There is not a bigger opportunity out there than this right now. And I know that through this process, we are going to be developing and generating, and through the business resulting in millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires in this business opportunity. I'm actually looking at it, and you know, more and more information that we gather and we learn and we research. You know, something like this has never been done in network marketing industry before, never. And I actually think that if we and when we do this now in the right way, I've already established for myself and for the company a target that we will grow to become the largest network marketing company in the world and the largest network marketing company in history. And we're gonna do that by involving us with this amazing new market that has unlimited financial potential and unlimited financial opportunities for each and every person involved in it. And while we're doing that, we're actually cleaning up the planet from this plastic pollution problem. It's like it just couldn't be anything better. And now we can bring this opportunity for each and every person around the world, help them to change their lives, help them to create financial independence, not just for themselves, but for their children, for their grandchildren, and for the future generations to come. It's absolutely mind-blowing when you actually start to see the bigger picture. Now, coming more closer to the practical day-to-day things. As we announced last Saturday, and this is something that I am personally very, very excited about, is that we are now starting to see more and more brands, especially international brands, well-known global brands like Novotel, who will now join in on the CSR Plastic Credit platform and will begin to use the CSR Plastic Credit as a method for them now to reduce their plastic waste footprint and as soon as possible to become plastic neutral. This is just one example of a large international brand that is now joining the CSR movement. And I'm very excited about what is expected to happen in the next coming weeks and coming months. And I can tell you guys, we have some amazing announcements and amazing partnerships that we're going to be releasing shortly. Now, as we know, all of these brands that you can see here in the screen right now, these are brands that are already using plastic credits to take responsibility and to communicate their actions to their clients, their consumers, about their plastic pollution and the work that they're doing to reduce that. Now, I just wanted to share you an interesting little sort of a piece of data that can be found, for example, from the Unilever website, where Unilever, being one of the largest companies and brands in the world, is actually publicly displaying the amount of plastic waste that they generate, and then also what is their target to deal with it. And what they're saying here, if you look at the bottom of the screen there in blue, for example, last year, Unilever produced 599,000 tons, let's say 600,000 tons. That is the same as 600 million kilos of plastic pollution. And on the upper box there, you can see that there, as it says, our plastic goals by 2025 will be to collect and process more plastic packaging than we sell. So these companies are really serious about this topic, and they are taking action. And I'm very happy to say that we are in talks with, as we saw here, we are talks with pretty much all of these guys. And you are going to see some very, very big, exciting, and very major development on these areas shortly. But the demand is already there. That's what I want to highlight with this little screenshot here. Now, I've made a joke about this before, but I think it is really I think accurate to say so, that in a very short period of time, when you actually walk to your local supermarket and you will find the CSR label printed into the product packaging, that's the moment when you know that we've made it. When you are in your local grocery store and you start to see the CSR label printed into different household products that you buy, that's when you know we made it. But I do hope that at that time, when you see that happening, you can open up your wallet and you can see a lot of CSR in that wallet. Because when that happens, that means that the value of the CSR is probably already increased dramatically. So don't miss out on the opportunity of collecting and holding onto as much CSR plastic credits right now that you can. Because guys, I'm telling you, that moment is going to come. And when you then find out in your local corner grocery store, Hey, wait a minute, there's a CSR logo on this one. You don't want to be thinking at that moment that, why did I sell my CSR for 2 cents or 2.5 cents or 3 cents, and feeling the pain of going into the open markets and looking at the price at that moment. Guys, don't do that, okay? So we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but my point here is that all these things are happening, all right? So prepare for that, and make your own plan and plan your actions accordingly. Now, talking about exchanges and talking about the CSR now in general, and what is happening with the exchanges, where are we moving? Let's talk about this in general. So as you know, since last Saturday, we are now listed all together in 4 public exchanges. These are latoken.com, xt.com, coinspit.io, and P2P B2B. Let's call it P2P. And these are all, as you know, public international exchanges. We have no involvement in these exchanges. We don't own any shares. We're not partners. We have absolutely nothing to do with these exchanges. These are public exchanges, some of them with millions of users all over the world. And as you can see, if you're already involved with our operations, you are following the markets and you're seeing what's happening there right now. And it's very exciting to see where this is going to develop. Now, we are going to continue to add more exchanges to the group of these already existing 4. And I'm also very happy to tell you that we are already in talks with, well, at least one very, very large exchange and several large exchanges, okay? And you are going to see the CSR to be listed regularly on new exchanges as we expand our global impact. Now, when it comes to the exchanges, I would also like to share with you the following sort of caution, okay? So what we have to understand is that when you transfer your CSR to an exchange, even if we trust these guys and we hope that they're doing their things in a good way, I want to highlight for you that we do not have any control or any involvement on how these exchanges operate, okay? They are like banks or like other private companies. And when you send your CSR to these exchanges, what you are really doing is you are giving your CSR into their hands, okay? Now, I don't want to scare you, but I just want to give you a very practical, cautionary advice, okay? And my advice to you is that please do not hold your CSR in the exchanges for long periods, okay? The reality is that in the last couple of months, there has been several exchanges, not the 4 of these, but several exchanges who have had financial difficulties, some exchanges around the world that have even gone bankrupt, and so on. These are small businesses, privately owned businesses, small or big. And what we've seen happen is that even if an exchange is having financial problems, like any business can have, they would first of all stop the withdrawals. They wouldn't allow their customers to take their CSR or not CSR, any crypto out. So no matter whatever crypto you have there, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it would be, in many cases, these exchanges, they would stop withdrawals. they would say, guys, we don't allow any withdrawals right now. And if you go into the really, really small fine print in the service agreement of almost every one of the exchanges around the world, there's a small print there which says that the exchange is actually allowed by law to keep your tokens if they go bankrupt. Okay, so we haven't had any issues with these 4 exchanges. Things are working well, people are moving in and out. But my advice for you is to take out any CSR that you have in these 4 exchanges, unless you're actually planning to trade it or sell it. Okay, don't hold them there. Hold them in your Trust wallet or your MetaMask, somewhere where you control your CSR tokens. All right, because then you're safe. If anything happens to any one of these exchanges, hope not, but then you are not at the risk of losing your CSR. All right, so I just want to be very hopefully clear and straightforward on this with you guys. So it's holding and securing your asset is very, very important. And you know, we know where the CSR is growing. I'm going to talk about that next. And let's say like this, that you have a couple thousand CSR there in an exchange, and then something would happen. And now you think to yourself, oh, okay, it's just a couple thousand CSR. But what if in the future, what if that CSR is now worth $1? You know, you don't want to think about it in the future, that why did I leave it there and now it's worth this amount of money? I lost that. Okay, so please take responsibility. Don't hold your CSR in the exchanges unless you really need to for a period of time, whatever, but hold them in a secure place where you are in control. Okay, guys? Now, very important, as I mentioned before, is that when these brands that we are now involving with our operations, when these brands now are coming to reduce their plastic waste footprint and work towards becoming plastic neutral, these brands are now going to be acquiring these CSR plastic credits from these exchanges. And as I said before, not from the company, but from the exchanges. And that is where we are going to see a lot of new demand coming onto the market continuously. Because what these brands and companies are doing, they're not buying the CSR for financial benefits. They're not buying it as an investment or trying to make money out of it. They are buying the CSR from the open markets so that they can retire it. Because what these brands want is they want the certificate that shows their customers, shows to the world that they have taken responsibility of the plastic waste footprint. They're not doing that for financial gains. All right. So that being said, with each new brand and each new corporate partner and company that we are involving ourselves with now coming involved is going to create more and more and more demand on the market, reducing the circulation of the CSR and also increasing its price. So here's a couple of advices. Now we talk about the price of the CSR and what to do with it. We also announced on last Saturday that the mandatory pool purchases now exceed more than $350,000. Something that I'm personally very, very proud of. And I'm happy to tell you that as of last night, for example, there is altogether about 15.3 million CSR that has been moved into the exchanges. The great thing about the blockchain, and this is how all data should be stored in the future. The great thing about the blockchain is that if you go to the etherscan.io website and you look about the CSR plastic credit, you can actually see where these CSR plastic credits are held. And as of today, or as of last night, there is about 15.3 million CSR currently in altogether that has been moved into these exchanges. And out from that 15.3 million, the mandatory pool and Corsair has already purchased back more than 9.1 million CSR, which is actually about 60% of, actually it's a little bit more than that, 9.1. This is the recent ones. So it's closer to about 9.3 million. So over 60% of all the CSR plastic credit tokens that have been moved into the exchanges has been purchased back with the CSR mandatory pool. 60%. Okay. For example, at the La Token website, about 55% of the CSR plastic credits that has been sent over to that exchange has been purchased back by the company. In xt.com, over 75%. And in CoinSpit, about 75%. In the P2P, about 30%. So what happens there, and now I want you guys to really pay a close attention on this one. We are purchasing back every day with thousands of dollars CSR from the market. Every day. Since the trading started about 3 months ago, $350,000 worth of CSR has been purchased back from you guys, whoever wanted to sell their CSR. Okay? So if you do the numbers from there, 3 months in trading, 350,000, that's over $100,000 a month. Thousands of dollars a day. So what happens there is that when you, as an influencer, let me just explain the mandatory pool so everybody understands exactly how this works. When you, as an Ampliboy influencer, earn commissions, and as I said before, we as a company pay up to 60% commissions every week from all the revenue that the company generates. Out of that commission, when you as an influencer receive it, 70% will be placed into your online cash account, which you can then use like money in the bank. You can withdraw it, you can use it to buy products and services. It's yours. 30% of the commissions of all Ampliboy influencers is placed into the so-called mandatory wallet. And if you so choose to, you don't have to, but if you choose to, you can allocate the mandatory money into the so-called CSR mandatory purchase pool, like many have done, and many continue to do every week when you earn more commissions. These monies, these funds are then managed by the company, and we go out to all these 4 exchanges now, and we're buying CSR every day with thousands of dollars, like we've done for the last 3 months with more than $350,000. And we continue to do every day. And we are buying at the cheapest price that we can find. This CSR is then taken out, and it's then being given for these influencers who are part of that specific pool from that week. Starting from next week, we are going to begin the distribution of these more than 9 million CSR that has already been purchased. And we're going to be sending these back to the influencers who are part of these pools. And then you can decide what you want to do with them. You want to keep them, or you want to go and sell them again. That's up to you. There's nobody telling you what to do with your CSR. But I would like to give you a piece of an advice. Now, when you understand this, that from every package that is sold through the Amplivo network, every CSR that is being distributed out there, commissions are being paid. And some of those commissions will go into the mandatory pool, which will go into the exchanges to buy the CSR at the cheapest available rate. This continues every day. And we're buying it, as I said, on the cheapest available price, no matter whatever that price would be. So if everybody who had CSR would actually say that, hey, let's not sell our CSR for less than 5 cents, the mandatory pool would be buying it at over 5 cents. If the CSR holders decide, hey, we're not going to sell below 6 cents, then the mandatory pool will buy for over 6 cents. What is my advice to you? Is that do not lose the opportunity that you now have in your hands by selling your CSR too cheap. Because the mandatory pool is used every day to buy those CSR at any price that is available. So my advice for you would be to don't sell your CSR 3 cents or 2.9 or 3.1 or 3.5, whatever. Sell it for a higher rate. If you want to sell it for a higher rate, because the pool is there to buy them at any available price. So instead of giving away your CSR for 3 cents or whatever, sell it for a higher price. You make more money with it, and the pool will still be there to buy it every day. Okay? Makes sense? Now, when you look at the bigger picture now, so we have the CSR, it's now being traded in these 4 exchanges. We're starting to see, first of all, we're starting to see more and more companies and brands now coming involved who will be buying the CSR. Again, they are buying it on the cheapest price they can find. All right? They are going to be buying these CSRs and they're going to be retiring them. They will never enter back into the exchange. They'll be gone forever. Because only by retiring the CSR can these companies receive the certificate. At the same time, the mandatory pool keeps on buying from the exchanges, like it's done over the last days, every day. And that one will take away CSR from the market. On top of this, as we've said before, starting from the beginning of next year, the Corsair company will also begin to purchase CSR as a part of its buyback program, where a portion of the sales revenue generated from the sales of our advanced bio oil will now be also channeled to buy the CSR from the open exchanges. So this means that any CSR that is out there is to be purchased back. And already so far, you know, if you look at the results, you look at the history, 60% has been bought back already. So my advice to you on this topic is don't sell your CSR too cheap, and don't hold it in the exchange unless you really, really have to, or you're looking to sell, or you're trading with it. But it's not necessarily the best, the safest place to keep your CSR. Keep it in a trust wallet, keep it in MetaMask, somewhere where you control, even in a hardware wallet or whatever you feel most comfortable with. Okay. Now, as you know, yesterday we announced something that we usually don't do. We don't usually do extensions. But yesterday, due to a lot of demand, we were contacted by a lot of influencers who said that they're on holiday, they've been traveling. I understand that, you know, the weather is hot. I'm going to be careful to say great, might be a little bit too hot for some, but the weather is nice, at least in some places, and maybe great, and especially definitely warm. And therefore, a lot of people have been occupied during the last week when we had the adjustment for the price of 2.1 cent per CSR. And therefore, a special 7 days extension was activated. And this will run now until next Friday evening, until the midnight on the Friday night, when the CSR will then again, in its price, be increased to 2.8 cents per CSR. That's an increase of 33%. So given the opportunity, use this opportunity as long as this adjustment period stays. This really is a great opportunity and great promotion for everyone involved, and for anybody to get involved with CSR plastic credit. Take responsibility of their own plastic waste footprint, or also hold it for the future and enjoy the value increase of the CSR in the next coming months and years. Talking about the price. Now, without giving any investment advice here, this is now my personal opinion based on the data and the research and everything that we can see happening around the world. Let me highlight something for you guys. The reality is that the plastic credit market, as we have spoken today earlier, is about to explode. There is massive demand coming to plastic credits because these companies need someone to go out there and actually collect it. Like it says here, like Unilever, their target is to collect and process more plastic packaging than they sell. 600 million kilos a year. How are they going to get this plastic out from the environment? They're gonna get it out by working with companies like Corsair and working with plastic credits, like they are already doing. This is just scratching the surface, guys. The demand for plastic credits is about to explode worldwide. And as I said earlier, right now it's voluntary, but in the next coming years, it will become mandatory by law for companies to begin using plastic credits. So that means that there is going to be more and more and more demand internationally for these credits. And as the demand increases, the CSR will be taken away from the circulation and retired forever and limiting the supply, again pushing the price higher. So if I look at the general market price of plastic credits around the world today, these companies, these big brands are today happy to pay between 50 cents and $1 per kilo of plastic waste removed from the environment. In our case, that means between 5 cents and 10 cents per CSR. So between 5 and 10, that is where the actual real market price for CSR as a plastic credit is right now. If you can get anything below 5 cents, that's a bargain. That's a bargain. It's a no-brainer. Don't lose that opportunity. If you see some really cheap CSR on the exchange, you probably should pick it up. You can sell it later, anytime you want. But if you actually see that there is somebody who is willing to let go of their CSR for some stupid price, like under 3 cents or 2.1, buy it. You can always get rid of it later. Okay? So between 5 and 10 cents is where the actual market price of CSR plastic credit is when compared to the other plastic credits on the market. When we now begin to include also revenue from the oil sales, more and more demand coming in from brands and different companies, more private individuals getting involved and starting to acquire CSR from the public market, we are going to start to see the CSR price to increase. And as we've said before, by the end of next year, we will stop the distribution of the CSR. After the end of 2023, there will no longer be new CSR distributed to the market. What is out there at that moment will be all of it. And that means that all the remaining CSR that has not been distributed, which will probably be about at least 5, maybe 6 billion of the total 10 billion CSR, will be destroyed forever. They will never enter the circulation. And that means that from that moment onwards, the CSR circulation will just become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And the purchases will be done at a higher and a higher and higher and higher price point. My target is that we will see the CSR growing into a high numbers. And everything that we're doing right now is supporting that. All the strategies, all the moves, all the actions that we take are there to support the development of the CSR. I'm not saying this as a prediction or an estimate. I want to be very careful on my wording here. But we already see that the actual market price, the value for CSR, when looking at the plastic credit market in general, is between 5 and 10 cents. And I do believe strongly that we're going to start to see the CSR moving towards 10 cents quite soon. But for a longer term target, my personal target is to build the CSR to €1. That's what we're aiming for. Now, when that's going to happen, if that's going to happen, how that's going to happen, we'll get to see. But if you just look back of the things that we have achieved in about a year and a half, or even in about a year since we took over the Amplivo network, just look at the time, how short it is, and how much have we been able to achieve as a company as a team, as a community of every Amplivo influencer and every member of the company working together, developing this mission and the CSR and the company. Just look how much we've been able to achieve in such a short period of time. If we actually succeed in that target of building the CSR to a value of €1 per CSR, believe me, you don't want to miss out on that. And everything that's happening around us right now, everything that is being done on the governmental levels, in the corporate levels, in decision making, everything is supporting right now these targets. Like I said in the beginning of this call, guys, there is absolutely nothing that would beat or would compete with this opportunity that we have in our hands right now. And the best part is that we have already established ourselves. We're already moving. We're already there. It's not like we're starting today. We're already established. Everything is there. Everything is working. Everything is in place. We don't have to wait for something to happen and then you can get to work. It's all there. But we are still in the very, very, very first step of our long journey. And that's the best part of it. Because you are still involved in the very beginning of this success story that we are currently developing and writing. So, first of all, take use of this promotion period and also take use of the bonuses that you as an Amplivo influencer can earn as a part of your commissions. Now, as we have mentioned before, the amount of bonus CSR in commissions is now dropping on a monthly basis. Right now, still from last week and also I believe from this week right now, at least from last week, I would double check for the week like that we are on right now. You are still receiving 90% sort of matching in CSR plastic credits for your earnings in euro commissions. Now, from the beginning of next month, this will be reduced to 80%. And then each month it will be reduced by 10%, going down to 10% eventually. So each month you have the opportunity right now to earn CSR for free by helping others to get involved, helping your teams to build their business, and by building your own business and your financial future. So take use of these bonuses that are out there. And as I would like to advise you is to hold on to every single CSR plastic credit that you can get your hands on. I know I am, because we are just getting started. And believe me, you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. Don't be, like we've said before, don't be like that unfortunate guy who gave away a big chunk of Bitcoin in exchange for a couple of pizzas. You don't want to be telling that story. You know, you don't want to be telling that story in a Christmas table a few years from now, telling to your family, oh yeah. Oh, when somebody comes to you and say, hey, weren't you involved in that plastic thing? What was that plastic credit thing? I read about it in the news. I saw it's been going crazy. You must have a lot of them. You don't want to be at that moment saying, well, yeah, I had, but if I would have just kept them, but I really needed to go on a holiday. I sold them off, you sold them off for what price? Or sweat starts coming. I've seen those stories. Oh my God, how many people I've heard telling those about, yeah, I had 10,000 Bitcoins. Oh yeah, I got them for some game, whatever. I sold them, oh God, you don't want to be one of those guys, all right? Just take a look at the facts. Take a look at what's going on in the world right now, okay? This plastic waste problem is getting worse by the minute. And the only way to tackle, the only way to solve this plastic waste problem is that every single kilo of plastic waste that is created per year needs to be offset, okay? There needs to be a matching amount of plastic credits retired for every single kilo that is produced in the future. Not even thrown away, but produced. And if by the year 2060 and onwards, there's going to be 1 trillion kilos created in plastic waste per year, that means that there is a potential demand for 10 trillion CSR per year. Guys, I don't know what else to say. This is, it's the biggest financial opportunity that any one of us has ever seen. And, if you're involved in network marketing, you're involved in this opportunity as an influencer, whatever your financial target, whatever your goal is right now, whatever is the number that you have hopefully written down somewhere that you want to earn per year, or you want to have earned as your total commissions, you should put at least X10 after that, 10 times that, because this opportunity here is enough to fulfill that for all of us in this call. Okay? So, that being said, we've been here just about an hour. I want to thank you all. I'm just going to make sure that if we had any other, no, I think we're pretty much covered for the day. So once again, I want to thank you all very much for taking your time today. And I hope that I can share with you a little bit more about the bigger picture and the direction where we're going. And whatever your purpose, whatever your primary reason of motivation to be involved in this business is, whatever it is, if you're looking to make an extra income, additional income, to give you more financial means and more financial abilities and more financial support in your situation, this is the business for you. You can do this business full time, or you can do this business hour a day. It's completely up to you. You have a great leadership in this company, great people that will support you and help you to make whatever that your target is. If your target is that, you are in the right place. If your target is to build this into your full-time occupation, to make your full-time monthly income from this business, you are in the right place. If your purpose is here to be part of the community and fight the plastic pollution and help to save this planet, you are in the right place. And if your target is here to build a fortune and to leave a legacy, to leave a generation changing amount of money and assets and wealth for your children, your grandchildren, and future generations, you are in the right place. Thank you, guys.
Wow, brilliant, Jay. Thank you very much. Just say to everyone, there's nothing more I can say really, but you get the picture, you see where this is going. This is unbelievable. And what's in the pipeline, just stay with your seat belts on, guys, because It's going to be one hell of a ride. You know, it could be hanging 10. So we'll see you on the beaches of the world. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you very much, Jay, taking time out of your very busy schedule. And thank you to everyone for being on the call. Take care.
Excellent.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.